It is me, Joe Benigno, and it's great to be here. I'm actually here. I've been here all week. I was, doing the morning show with the guys, with Jerry and company, the last 3 days, and it's like the old days. I'm back doing the midday. No Evan. There's no Evan here, but, Dove Kramer and Pete Hoffman on the other side of the glass. And I'll be here till 2 o'clock, and then we will still not have Evan, as we have Tommy Lugauer and Chris McMonigal filling in for Evan and Tiki. So last night, obviously doing the morning show, it's been a crazy schedule for me because I'm not used to doing this. You know what I mean? I'm not used to getting up and going to work anymore. But nevertheless, so yesterday, came home, got some sleep because I wanted to, at least watch a majority of the Met game last night. So I got to about the sixth inning, right? I actually got to the top of the sixth inning, and I said it was 2-2 at that point. And I guess it's because I'm a negative fan of every team I root for. So I had a bad feeling that the Mets were not going to win. It was 2-2 when I went to bed. And I was extremely pleasantly surprised when I woke up this morning and discovered they won this game 5-3. Francisco Lindor with a big hit in the ninth inning, 2-run single. Jesse Winker, so far his best game as a Met. He had 3 hits, drove in a run as well in the ninth inning. Diaz closed it out, did give up a run, but again, Jose Butto has been tremendous. 2 shutout innings in the 7th and 8th inning, and of course the win for Paul Blackburn, not the win for Blackburn, but a solid 6 innings for Blackburn, who's pitched 2 good games for the Mets so far. I mean, let's be honest about it. He's looked good. And that was a big win yesterday. They lose that game to Colorado the night before. And I said this coming into this trip, right? Everybody's saying, 6-4, I've heard 7-3. I said, no. Give me 5-5, and I'll take it. So right now they're 3-3. They won 1 out of 3 in Anaheim. They win that game in St. Louis. They split these 2 so far. If they're going to have at least a 5-5 road trip or even better than that, they got to win today. David Peterson on the mound today, afternoon game, which is great because I could go home and watch it because the weather stinks, so I can't go to the pool and I can't play golf, which actually has worked out well for me this week in coming in because the weather hasn't been great, although Monday and Tuesday were good. I did go to the pool those days. But nevertheless, so it's actually worked out pretty good for me so I can go home and watch the game. But right now the Mets a half game out of the last wild card, right behind the fading Atlanta Braves. They're 60-54. And like I said, if they're going to have at least a minimum 500 road trip, they got to win this baseball game today. David Peterson on the mound. He's actually pitched pretty well for them. He's pitched much better this year than I expected. Still, he doesn't really give you too much length. He's basically been a 5-inning pitcher. He did go 6 his last time out. Probably should have stayed in the game. But nevertheless, look, here's my take on the Mets. And I said this with Jerry. I've been saying this when I've been doing the Saturday show. I came into this season with absolutely no expectations at all. I didn't think they were going to be good. I wasn't thrilled about bringing in David Stearns. I looked at him as a small market guy, yada, yada, all of that. What did he ever win in Milwaukee? Okay, fine. Maybe he's making the playoffs, but he never wins anything. And I really felt that they brought this guy in here because, look, Cohen's still paying the salary of Verlander. He's still paying the salary of Scherzer. He got hit with this luxury tax. Of course, if it was the Dodgers, he wouldn't have because, the Dodgers play by a different set of rules than everybody else in MLB, but that's a different story. But nevertheless, so I thought maybe they brought Stearns in, to kind of run this team a little bit more small market than they should with the richest owner in all of baseball in Stevie Cohen. And I have been wrong and pleasantly surprised by what has happened to this baseball team who looked dead in the water in May. 11 games under 500 in May, and now here they are on August, whatever date it is, the 6th, the 7th, I get, what is it, the 7th, the 8th? August 8th, right. On August 8th, there's 6 games over 500 and right in the mix as far as the National League wild card is concerned. And if you're a Met fan, look, you got to be happy about that. I don't know how the season's going to play out, and I still probably think they're not making the playoffs. Probably. I'm keeping my expectations very low. I have learned, okay, as a fan of the teams that I root for now, right? I was there since day one with the Mets in 62, 65, with the Jets, even before that with the Rangers and the Knicks, the earlier 60, 62, 63 with the Rangers and the Knicks. I have learned to keep my expectations extremely low because my teams don't win championships. I mean, let's be honest about it. You know, the most recent one is now going on 31 years with the Rangers, who I thought this was going to be the year to win. And, well, we know what happened. So I have now, as I approach, I'm closing in on 71. I'm only a couple years younger than Dove. I am closing in on 71 freaking years old, which is mind-boggling when I think about it, okay? But I have now it took me about 70 years to finally figure this out. I am now in a point where I expect nothing from my teams. Expect them to be bad, and you'll be, if they're not, like with the Mets this year now, I'm pleasantly surprised. So no matter what the Mets do the rest of the year, and dare I say, at the very least, get me to the kickoff in San Francisco on the opening Monday night for my football team. At least get me there, which I think they will. I think the Mets will be in the mix the rest of the year. And one thing we've seen about the Mets, since they went on the big winning streak or, started to play whatever the number is since June 1st, they really have had no protracted losing streaks. I think the longest losing streak they had was 3. That's it. And that's why I feel good that they will at least get 5-5 out of this road trip. But if they're going to do that, or dare I say do better than that, they really need to win today. You got to get 2 out of 3 against a not very good Colorado Rocky team. And we'll see what David Peterson does today. The one thing, though, and look, Lindor had the big hit last night. Winker with a good game last night and all of that. Alvarez had a couple of hits. Pete did get a big RBI single early in the game in the first inning. But, Pete's got to hit better. I mean, let's be honest. I want to see Pete Alonso on this team next year, right? You know how I feel about the Mets and especially homegrown Mets. I want to see Pete Alonso play his entire career here for the Mets. But he has not had a good year on his walk year. I think he's been pressing all year. As far as the contract, I think it's weighed on his mind big time. I really do. But, and that's why the numbers are very, for Pete, 23 homers, 60 RBIs. I mean, here we are, in closing in on mid-August. That's not Pete-like numbers, I'll tell you that. I mean, the guy drove in, 120 last year, had over 40 home runs. So my expectation for him is bigger than that. I will say this, and I said this the other day, okay? And I want to see the Mets, keep Pete and sign Juan Soto. And Stevie Cohen's got to go after Soto, though I think he's going to stay with the Yankees. I do. But Stevie Cohen has got to make a serious bid for Soto. Unless the Yankees somehow sign him before free agency, I don't see that happening. It looks like Soto wants to get there because he's going to, let's be honest, he's going to make probably close to $50 million a year, I would think. So I will say this, and I said this on the morning show with Jerry the other day. If they lose Pete and they sign Soto, I'm good with it. Now, I want both of them. But if you don't sign Soto, you better get Pete done. And maybe the fact that Pete's having a down year, as for him, maybe that's going to bring the price down. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, there's still probably going to be somebody out there that wants to pay stupid money for him. Maybe Houston, maybe the Cubs. I don't know who that team would be. Those are the teams that I think have shown interest in him. I think Houston was talking, was interested in him at the trade deadline. Thank God they didn't trade him. And I give Stearns credit for keeping the team together. How could he not? When, now they're in the mix, you got to keep this team together. Let's be honest about it. But I'm just keeping my expectation level low. And just a couple of my buddies out there who are big Met fans, you cannot treat baseball like football. You can't get nuts every game. It's 162. It's not 17. So, it's totally different. But look, I don't expect the Mets to make the playoffs. I'm pleasantly surprised how good they have been this year. I love what they're doing, no doubt about it. Very happy. I love Carlos Mendoza. I mean, I love the guy. I got to tell you. I mean, I really didn't know much about him. I knew he was the Yankee bench coach for all those years with Boone. But how good is this guy? I mean, to me, the fact that he was able to keep this team rolling when it looked like they were dead in the water, 11 games under, and to keep an even keel in that clubhouse and keep a team that seems to really like each other and, really playing for each other out there, I give all that credit to Mendoza. I think he's done a great job. My only knock on Mendoza, the only thing that's bothered me so far that he's done this year was not defending Edwin Diaz more when he got suspended. Where was Mendoza out there screaming about it? Whether he was guilty or not, Okay? And if you pitch for the Dodgers, they would have told him, go ahead, go wash your hands and come back and pitch. That's what they would have done, if Diaz was a Dodger. But, like I said, there's a different set of rules for them than everybody else. Don't tell me Ohtani had nothing to do with this gambling, but, of course, well, we know the deal. But be that as it may. I think Mendoza's done a great job. I think he's the best Met manager since Bobby Valentine. I really do. I think he's really, really been great, and he's got this team playing real good baseball. But a big game today. Need to get out there and get the win today. And if they're going to, at least get minimum, get a split on this 10-game road trip that they're on right now. And then they come home for 9 games, and then they go out on the road again to another crazy road trip. They go to, San Diego, Arizona, and then they play the red-hot White Sox. I guess the White Sox lost last night, right, Pete? Did they win last night, the White Sox? They did, right? After snapping the 21-game losing streak?
Yeah, they lost.
They did lose, so they're back on track again. So, but that's the next road trip they have. Again, Arizona, who's been red hot right now, I believe is in a wild card lead right now. San Diego is right there. Those are the two teams ahead of the Braves right now in the wild card. And then you got to play the lousy White Sox. So, but get at least 5-5 on this road trip, and I'll be happy. And again, Seattle's a good team, so they got a good pitching and all of that, and not an easy place to play there either. But give me 5-5 on this trip, and I'll take it. If they anything better than that, to me, as far as that goes, is nothing but gravy. So we'll see what happens today. David Peterson on the mound. As far as the Yankees last night, they split the doubleheader. Got whacked in the second game. Who's this guy that pitched for them in the second game? Warren? Who is this? Was he a prospect? Who is he? I don't know.
Yeah, he's a young kid. He got called up a couple weeks ago to fill in for Garrett Cole.
Right. Didn't work out well there last night. And, of course, they did win the first game 5-2. Cabrera hit a home run in that game. They actually pitched the Judge in a big spot. He ripped the one. He got a base hit, drove in a run, ripped a base hit to left field to drive in a run. I tell you, one thing about the Yankees, all right? And the Yankees are making the playoffs. I mean, I know they had their rough stretch and all. Yeah, they're making the playoffs, whether they win the division or not. They're going to be there. And I think they're going to make a run. I do. I think at minimum you're going to see them in the ALCS. That's my feeling. Because really, there's no great team out there. Who's the great team in baseball right now? Who is that team? The Phillies look like that team, but they, come back down to earth. God knows what's happened to the Braves with all the injuries that they've had. The Yankees early on looked clearly like the best team in baseball, and then they went into their tailspin. Baltimore looked great for a while. They haven't been playing great lately. So, the Dodgers, okay, you want to give me the Dodgers, fine. But, I mean, are they a sure thing either to win it all? No. So, I look, there's no great teams out there. I think the Yankees will make a run. I'd still watch out for Houston. I mean, to me, the Astros are always dangerous. They got off to a terrible start. Now they're right back where they generally are, right in the mix there to win the AL West. But there's no great teams. I think the Yankees will make a run, a big run. Will they get to the World Series? That remains to be seen. It's so crazy now with all these ridiculous rounds of playoffs that they have. But, they have definitely righted the ship. But to me, you got to watch, if nothing else, okay, even if you can't stand the Yankees, you really have to watch the Soto and Judge at-bats. You have to watch them. And I was stunned last night. I guess it had to be the first game. They walked him. Ron Washington actually walked Judge intentionally in the first game. It was 5-2. I think it was the 8th inning, 5-2. 2 out, nobody on, and he walked Judge intentionally. Didn't even pitch around him. Just, put the fingers up, walked him intentionally, which I thought was the right call. I mean, obviously, why pitch to him with 2 out and nobody on? I'll take my chances. I think it was Wells who was in behind him. I'll take my chances there. I was very surprised that it was only the 12th time all year that he was intentionally walked. Now, let's be honest with this, too. How many times has he been pitched around where it was the intentional walk? God knows how many times that's been. But I was surprised. Aren't you a little surprised by that, though? If he's only been intentionally walked 12 times all year? Very surprised to see that.
He does swing at bad pitches historically, so they may try.
Well, he swings at bad pitches because he wants a hit, But, I was surprised by that. But there's been a lot of pitch arounds, as I said. But to me, that's must-see television. You got to see Soto hit, and you got to see Judge hit. And Judge has really put himself, and I've said this over and over, Judge has put himself now in the pantheon of the all-time great players. There's no question about it. I mean, we haven't seen what's happening with Judge since Barry Bonds in his heyday, when they would never pitch to Bonds. You know, Bonds would see maybe one good pitch in an entire game in 4 at-bats and, you know, basically hit that pitch into McCovey Cove. You know, so we have not seen this kind of treatment for a major league player since like I said, 20 years ago in the heyday of Barry Bonds. But Judge is, I mean, you have to watch him. You have to watch him. And you throw one bad pitch to this guy, and, you know, he's hitting the ball to Staten Island. I mean, it's unbelievable. So, you know, to me, that is must see. Even though I'm no Yankee fan, you know, I actually like Judge. He's a very likable guy. You know, to me, he comes off as a very nice guy, you know, very humble guy. He doesn't seem full of himself at all, where, you know, he could be as being the best player in baseball. Sorry, Ohtani. The best player in baseball is Aaron Judge, okay? Aaron Judge plays every day. I know they DH him occasionally. He's playing center field for the most part. He's playing in the outfield. Ohtani's a DH. We'll see if he ever pitches again. But, you know, as good as Ohtani is, I'll take Judge every day of the week. He's the best player in baseball. He's going to run away with the American League MVP. There's no doubt about it. And we'll see. What's he got, 41 home runs now? And I don't know if he's going to hit 60 because I don't know if they're going to pitch to him enough to get to 60. You think so? What do you think about that, though? If they go hit 60 this year? He needs 19. I don't know.
It could be close.
Yeah, close, maybe. He'll hit 50. You know, he'll hit 50-something. But what's that? What'd you say? Oh, we got to do Town Fair? Oh, I'll do Town Fair. It's so good to be back with Dove. Like, you know, isn't it, Pete?
Joe, over the years I've worked with Dove, nothing ever changes. The most important thing is what's in front of your face.
No doubt about it. No doubt. And I'm glad that you are getting along well with Dove, because Ernie for years got along famously with Dove, as you know.
Yeah, no, we're getting along pretty famously too. It's just not trickling over the air as much.
Oh, okay. Do you miss Ernie, Dove? Do you miss him?
As a person, yes. As a coworker, to be discussed.
Yeah, okay. All right, anyway, Benigno filling in for BT and Sal Licata. I'll be here 2 o'clock, and then you'll get McMonigal and Tommy Lugau.